Well, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. The 95B recall fix is here. It came out just the other day. We've been doing a little homework on this before we put our video out. I suspect there's going to be a ton of questions. Most people haven't even had the opportunity to bring their vehicle to the dealership yet regarding this recall because it just came out pretty much on Saturday morning. So we're going to talk about what's involved, what to expect, and then following this video, we are going to work with one of the hybrid techs over at Ray CDJR and really dive deep into this for those of you like me who want to dork out and understand everything about it. But in this video, we're going to talk about what to expect and what we know right now. I did read through this. This is posted online. It's posted on Jeeps on the Run website. It's posted on our 4xe enthusiast page, and it's posted right here on the YouTube page for our community tab. So if you want to read this, you can. This really lays out, this is the publication that the tech is going to use, and this really lays out what to expect and line by line what the tech needs to do in order to make sure your vehicle goes through this recall process. Before we get into this, here are some questions that I personally have that I don't think are going to be answered in this. And the questions that I have are, if your Jeep passes the recall, what does that mean? Does that mean that your battery didn't fail now, but maybe might fail later? Does that mean that the battery was made with different materials, different separated materials that some batteries weren't? So I think there's going to be a lot of questions on the ones that pass versus fail, but that might be answered in some of the updates that we're going to see on the 4BEs as well. Again, I have a sneaking suspicion this is going to be a little bit of a process, and we're going to continue to learn just like we did on the previous recalls. This one is going to be a little tricky for some dealers. The Jeep needs to be charged at 75% before the vehicle can start its testing. So needless to say, they're going to have to charge the vehicle to 75%, but if it's above 75%, they need to drive the vehicle to actually bring it back down to 75%. There's also a driving sequence in here where the vehicle needs to coast from 55 down to 25 for that regenerative braking. There's a test in there. So if they need to drive the vehicle somewhere else where the dealership can meet those speed limits legally, they're going to have to use the e-save mode or whatever it is to hold the vehicle at that 75%. I hope I'm wrong, but you need to make sure you find a dealership that follows these things to a T, because that 75% sounds like it's very crucial to the testing method on this procedure. So I know we've had other dealerships in the past taking shortcuts, so I convince you to find a dealership that knows this stuff well. So at any rate, this walks through the whole process. It also makes a note here that your BPCM, your battery pack control module, needs to be updated first. And there's your AHCP, your HCP, your IDCM, your PCM, and your TCM. If you don't know what any of those things means, it doesn't matter, but those are all the different brains that control all the different portions of the 4xe system. As part of this update, each one of those are going to, as part of this recall, each one of those systems is going to receive an update. Now, here's what I'm thinking is that in these updates, just like we saw previously, it's going to add some mentality, if you will, to the Jeep that's going to look for these fail points that maybe if your vehicle passes now the vehicle knows what to look for to make sure if something triggers in the future, it's going to throw a check engine light. Again, I could be wrong. If any suspicion, I would think that's what's going to be involved in these updates. It runs through a whole list on exactly what needs to happen. It talks about the YTech. So YTech in here is basically the computer system that Mopar uses. That's the brains of the communication between your Jeep and Stellantis themselves. It also says in here, when they're driving the vehicle, it needs to have a wireless connection to this YTech. So your dealership needs to have either a hotspot or something like that. So keep that in mind. I'm sure the dealerships are going to, if they don't have that already, they'll need to get it. So it also talks about this acronym MDP. So MDP is a Mopar diagnostic pack. And that's basically the little module they stick into your OBD2 port, and that talks to their YTech computer. It says on here that the same MDP must be used throughout the entire process. A lot of dealers have 3 or 4 of them for different techs to use. That's usually the little module they'll throw into your OBD2 port as you pull in the service lane. It tells the advisor everything that's going on. So there's a lot of little nuances to this recall repair that they need to make sure they're taking full, that they need to make sure they're taking all the procedures properly for it. For whatever reason, the MDP, like I said, a lot of dealers have multiples, so it calls that out that it needs to be the same one. I don't have the printed sheet of the drive cycles, but it says on here that there's a sequence of accelerating and decelerating, so coasting, between the drive speeds of 25 miles and 50 miles an hour. Now it also says on here that the tech should print this sequence out, because once they start the process on their YTech, it's not going to show them the steps on the screen itself. So there is a printout for that, but so realize that if 50 miles an hour isn't a realistic speed or whatever, they're going to have to drive your vehicle to a point to get it there. Also, if they charge your vehicle to 100%, they're going to need to drive your vehicle to get it back down to that 75% and hold it there. So there's a lot of little things that you're going to want to make sure get followed. Obviously, most dealerships should follow this, but we've learned in the past that we've seen some dealerships taking shortcuts. So if your dealership is one, I would highly recommend finding one that knows the ins and outs of the hybrid 4xe system. Race CDJR, our title sponsor in Fox Lake, they've got a tech there, multiple techs, but they've got some guys there that have been with Chrysler for 35 plus years, and they are definitely on board with this. So as they go through this test, it's going to basically give them a pass-fail at the end of the day, regardless. So if you get a fail, you're getting a new battery. There's a printout that they require to send to Stellantis, a vehicle scan report. They print it out with all the ECU details, and they send that to Stellantis. Stellantis is going to send a new battery. Another thing, there are batteries that were waiting out in the interim for previous failures that were taking months and months to get. Some dealers are better than others in getting these batteries, whether it's staying on top of them, having a relationship with the engineer department, whatever the case. So I've seen people saying, well, my battery is 6 months out. That may be the case leading up to this with this recall, but again, find yourself a dealership that really lives and breathes the 4xe. If you have a battery fail, then they're going to schedule at that point. We'll see what happens, right? You're probably going to be in the same predicament you are now. You're going to be told not to charge, park away until you get that new battery. If you're fortunate enough that your vehicle passes the 95B recall procedure, as far as I would be concerned at that point, it's going to be business as usual. Go back to charging, go back to business as usual. And I would assume that in this update to all of the different modules in the Jeep, if a problem were to arise in the future, I have a sneaking suspicion that that's going to trigger a check engine light. There's a lot here. I didn't go into all the details. We are going to dive deeper into this with one of the techs this week at the dealership. But I did want to give you guys a heads up that the 95B recall fix is here. It basically is a series of tests, but there are some specific things that the Stellantis is asking the Jeep to be at as far as temperature, battery charge, and drive conditions and that kind of stuff. So it's really important that you've got a dealership that is in communication with this. Some dealerships seem to be more 4xe friendly than the others. We've already been down this road before. So let us know what you think. We will be diving deeper into specifically. We'll probably get with one of the techs and actually take a drive when they're doing this actual procedure, and we'll share that with you. But I wanted to get this out to you. It is available. It's online. It's everywhere. We've shared it as well. So as always, we'll try to keep you up to date with all of the 4xe recalls and all the 4xe information. So give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll keep you up to date on what's coming next. And comment below with what your experience is with this 4xe, the most recent 95B recall. Thanks, and we'll see you later.